The NBA playoffs are finally here, and what a game one, round one performance from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Today, they beat the Toronto Raptors 126-113 behind some monster performances from key Cavaliers players, and I could not be more pumped about this Cavs roster heading into the playoffs. I think they could do great things and very easily find themselves in the NBA Finals. The Cavs are a team that I am very high on, and I believe that they will win round one fairly easily against the Raptors and win round two against the Detroit Pistons. In today's game, it highlighted a ton of what makes this Cleveland Cavalier team very dangerous. We know what Donovan Mitchell represents as one of the best game one playoff performers we've ever seen. A guy who consistently scores 30 points or more in game one, and today was no different, finishing the game with 32 points in only 31 minutes. The Cavaliers dominated the first three quarters of this game, winning the first quarter by 4, second quarter by 3, and the third quarter by 14 points. Having a nice lead going into the fourth quarter where they kind of let their foot off the gas as they were just closing the game out. But the Cleveland Cavaliers made some huge moves and some huge gambles in this season, trading Darius Garland for James Harden and trading DeAndre Hunter for Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder. The moves have seemed to really pan out because we've seen how much better this offense, or how incredible this offense has been with James Harden on the court and what they're capable of doing, having those two great ball handlers, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, two guys who can create shots for their teammates and also get a bucket in a half-court set, which is so important in the playoffs when the game slows down. James Harden started this game off dishing the basketball to Jared Allen, and what he's been able to bring out of Jared Allen in centers in the past is really one of the greatest things about Harden's game. He's so smart, he's so efficient, and he creates challenges that are almost impossible for the defense to solve because of his incredible work in the isolation, because of his ability to play the pick and roll with a big man like Jared Allen and pass or drive to the basket at a high level. He can do so many things that makes really a problem that's almost impossible for a defense to solve. And the question mark is, how will James Harden perform in the playoffs? Well, his playoff woes have been wildly overstated, and today we got an excellent James Harden performance, 22 points and 10 assists, 2 steals. Next to Donovan Mitchell scoring 32 points, these guys are only playing 33 and 31 minutes in today's game. That's so valuable. You talk about making a long playoff run, being able to win games easily where you don't have to play those high 40s minutes, mid 40s, is really important, because you would imagine that the next round you're playing against a really good Detroit Pistons team, and if you're able to win that, you'd be playing a dogfight against either the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks. So you look at this over the long run, winning today and winning easily was huge. But one of the main storylines of this game was Max Strus off the bench, scoring 24 points in just 24 minutes. He was 4 of 6 from the three-point line, 8 of 10 from the field, and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He has brought so much to this team since coming back from his injury. And we saw him perform at a high level with the Miami Heat years ago in their playoff run. And that's the reason the Cavs brought him in, because they needed help in that forward wing position. And this is what they hoped he would add. So when you're rolling out a lineup to close a game with potentially Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, who played awesome today, and Jared Allen, who also played awesome today. Jared Allen finished with 10 and 7. He started the game really high. Evan Mobley finished the game with 17.7 rebounds, 4 assists. And we know what he represents on the defensive end of the court. And also, I believe he's better than Scottie Barnes, but that's a different take for a different day. But it seems to be a lot of people are down on Evan Mobley, and I'm still really high on him because you can't forget what he provides on the defensive end of the court. That's all people want to talk about with Victor Wembanyama, is how he's the greatest defender they've ever seen in their lives. But when it comes to a guy like Evan Mobley, they seem to just maybe brush that off to the side and not focus on how excellent he is on the defensive end of the basketball court. This Cavs team will have the ability to get stops in key moments because they have guys that can defend. James Harden is a bigger guy. Darius Garland has almost no ability to get a defensive stop in a big moment where if he gets switched on by a bigger player. And Cade Cunningham, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, all those guys are going to isolate against your weakest defender. Well, James Harden is not the greatest defender we've ever seen. He has the body type, and if he, locks in for a defensive possession at the end of the game, he has the ability to do that. And Max Strus, obviously, we know, big body, can defend. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. You have guys on the court that you're able to get situational stops. You do not have to be the best defense in the NBA to win a championship, but you do have to be situationally excellent to win a title. And on the offensive end of the court, we know that Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are going to be able to generate great looks for their offense. So defensively, how are they able to play together to communicate and get stops in key moments to continue to advance in the playoffs? Today, they just played a great brand of basketball. They shot 16 of 32 from the three-point line. That's 50%. For any of you that can't do 50% math, 54% from the field. They shot 28 free throws, and they really dominated this game in almost every aspect. They won the rebounding battle by 6 points in the paint. They won by 16, and I think that, and they won the turnover battle. The Cavaliers, that's one of the things that's going to be important for them, is winning the turnover battle. But they win all three of the first quarters, really flexing their dominance against a Toronto Raptors team that I just don't think has the firepower really to keep up with them. We know that they have Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, pretty good basketball players, and they're a solid team. The Toronto Raptors had a good season, but I don't think at the end of the day they're going to be able to keep up with this Cavs team. And I think the Cavaliers should close out this series fairly easily, probably 6-ish games. We'll see. Could be 5, I think, but what a performance from the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that I cannot be more excited to watch in the playoffs. And I really hope that James Harden gets the opportunity to prove a lot of people wrong, because he ran into some very difficult Golden State Warriors teams with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. And I think that those series really put a damper on his legacy. And I saw Cavs fans saying on Twitter that James Harden is quickly becoming one of their favorite Cavaliers players ever. And that's really, Harden's been one of my favorite players for a long time, because I think watching him operate on the offensive end of the court, he's so smart. He can do so many different things. That step back three is really revolutionary. We've seen a lot of guys adopt that into their game. He does so many things at a high level that it's just entertaining basketball to watch, and it's high IQ basketball. You feel like he makes a lot of the guys around him better, specifically his big men, and he will allow Donovan Mitchell to get some rest within the game, not feel like he has to generate all the offense in the fourth quarter. And one of the big problems the Cavs have had over the last few seasons is just general health in the playoffs, and Darius Garland has been a significant part of that, a guy who has been unable to stay healthy for one reason or the other. In the playoffs, it feels like, James Harden is going to be there. He's a guy that is very reliable, very durable, and will be there in the biggest moments. How will he perform in those moments is the question mark. And if he's able to reach the peak that he has reached so many times this season and in his career, the Cavaliers are going to be a very difficult out, because Donovan Mitchell is an absolute superstar. He is a playoff riser, a guy who has had some of the greatest playoff games that I've ever watched as far as shot making, and the ability to hit big clutch shots is something that I think he can do at a high level. And when you're talking about running into some juggernauts in the next few rounds, the Detroit Pistons, the Celtics, the Knicks, whatever it looks like there, all of those things are going to be very important. And I couldn't be more excited to watch this Cleveland Cavalier playoff run. What a game today, 126-113 with great performances. That's all we got for you about today's game, but we're going to be covering the NBA playoffs ad nauseum. So if you love the NBA, make sure you take a second to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,500 subscribers. Appreciate y'all watching. Cyborg out.